What's up, everyone? Welcome to Bluegrass State of Mind, the show where three college roommates talk life, sports, and all the ridiculous things that happen in an apartment we like to refer to as Room 302. We're bringing you stories, hot takes, and the kind of late-night debates that probably should have stayed in the group chat.
So grab your headphones, sit back, and get ready for a wild ride through our past college life, sports, and everything in between. Let's get into it. This is Bluegrass State of Mind.
Well, welcome back to another episode of Bluegrass State of Mind. We have a lot to get into tonight, so let's get right into it. First off, we're going to start out with the CJ Cup Byron Nelson that was hosted in Texas this past weekend. We have Scottie Scheffler in the winner's circle for the first time of the 2025 regular season at a 31 under, tying the lowest 72-hole aggregate score in PGA Tour. I believe he tied it with JT. Is what I had seen. Obviously, everybody was talking about Scottie. Girl, he's a Texas native. I mean, I think he was originally born in Jersey, but he moved out to Texas, and that's what he calls home at a younger age. And that was also he made his first career start there at age 17. So I know it was a very special moment for him. I'm just going to throw some stats out for y'all, and then after that, I'm going to hear y'all's thoughts on it. But just impressive. I mean, shot 61, 63, 66, 63. Strokes gained putting, he was ranked 7th this week. Approach, he was ranked 1st. Off the tee, he was 2nd. And tee to green, he was 1st. He ranked 1st in proximity, birdies, 3-putt avoidance, putting average, par 2 scoring, par 4 scoring, par 5 scoring, and putting 3 to 6 feet. He ranks 1st in all of those categories. I'll be honest with y'all. Up until this week, I kind of was on the, and not to say one performance doesn't do it, but Rory has been very impressive this season. And I was like, man, Rory, he might, he possibly could be the best player in the world. But then I see a week like this. And then I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, and I know it's just 1 week, but like Colton, you've said many times on this episode, it's almost as if after Scottie breaks through, watch out. And that might be what happens because and he was saying in all of his interviews up to this week, he's like, my game's trending. Like he said, I am very, very close. And boy, did he hit the hammer on the head, because he wasn't just close. I mean, he came out and I mean it was just a clinic. I mean, from the start on the first tee on Thursday to the last hole today. I mean, I know he ended up with par, but my goodness, I mean, just an absolute clinic all around. Colton Morris, I mean, how about him? How about Scottie?
Yeah, I mean, just domination. I mean, he's just, we were starting to question. I don't think any of us actually believed it, but, knowing how Scottie was before he finally picked up a few of those first wins, how he was finishing just constant top tens, but not able to finish. Well, this year he kept having that one bad round, right? Like that one bad round we kept talking about was the thing that was keeping him from actually winning. Well, his bad round this time was 66. So, when your bad round is 5 under, it's a little different instead of some of those evens, or he had been shooting some of those other tournaments. But like we said, once he finally gets this first one, yeah, I mean, it'll be surprising to see if that's how you know that Scottie is so good though, and Rory is so good. Is you see all these other guys that have had these years where they go on runs and they win multiple times, and then all of a sudden in 2 or 3 years they just kind of fall off. They go on a year or two, the speeds, the JTs, right?
Yeah.
They miscut. No, Scottie and Rory, they just continue, right? Their downfall is not actually winning, but it's still getting top 15s, top 20s, top 10s. And so Scottie was constantly in the top 10 this year. I mean, it wasn't like he was, missing these cuts, but he was still having the top 10 and literally coming up 3 or 4 shots short, and he fell back to that one bad day he would have each round. And now he had a day where he had a tournament, he put it all together. I mean, what was it? I don't even know, up until today or yesterday at some point, he hadn't taken anything over a 5 or a 4. Like he hadn't taken a 5 at all in the first 2 days.
Yeah.
So I mean that's insane. to not even take a 5. I mean, the par 5s he played at 14 under or something like that. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, it's insane. But I mean, pure domination from Scottie. Now I'm excited to see him and Rory go at it the rest of the year, right? I mean, it's going to make for really good. And now, look, DeChambeau won over on the Live Tour. I'm not wanting to
That's
mention,
what I was going to say.
but he won on the Live Tour. So, like, man, you talk about a clinic getting to watch these three play for the next three majors. I'm excited for it, but I don't expect this to be the last one Scottie wins this year.
Mason, what was your thoughts on him?
Yeah. So, like Colton said, we've seen him up near, getting that win all year, and I can't remember exactly what Phil's tweet said, something about he didn't think he'd win for the Ryder Cup or something, and I thought that was crazy. I mean, he was just having one bad round. He fixes that, he's going to get his win. And he came out this week, and I'm sure some people will say not a super stacked field, not a lot of those big names in there, but I heard a stat that they were talking about today that if I think there was 156 players in the field or something, and if they took every single player from that and combined a low round every day from, the lowest round from all those players, Scottie would have lost his tournament by one shot. So he almost had the lowest round every single day. I mean, it was just pure domination from start to finish. So like y'all said, I think this is going to kind of propel him. Obviously, it seems like his game is getting a little bit better. There towards the end of the day, he had a couple of, bad kind of worry shots that were unlike him that we kind of seen, some this year in some of those rounds. But it seems like he's eliminated those and he's starting to find his game. So I'm excited to see it going forward. I think it'll be exciting to watch, like Colton said, these next three majors. Got several guys trending in the right direction. Hopefully JT can stay hot too. I always got to throw my boy in there. He's good for the game of golf. So exciting going forward. We got a lot of big names out there that are playing really good golf right now. So when's the next major? 2 weeks?
2 weeks,
Yeah,
I think.
not next week, the
PGA.
week after.
Yeah. So excited to see
12
that.
hole.
Wonder who will be favored. I know Rory was favored before this tournament. We'll see if he's still favored after Scottie won this.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but I mean, Colt makes a good point. Not want to talk too much about the PGA because we'll talk about. But I mean, you have guys who are all going to be coming in playing at like great. I mean, you have Bryson who just won, like he said, on Lift. You got Scottie. You got Rory who's coming off the Grand Slam. JT. I mean, like you have like the PGA is in a great state. I was looking at something today that came up on my feed about the RBC Heritage about how like it was the best that he had been in 23 years. Like that was the highest ratings that he had. And I mean, you take last year. I mean, that's where Scottie won. I mean, coming off, so you would have thought like maybe that might be up there. But in 23 years, I mean, PGA's in a great place. But one thing I also want to add on, and I've said this on our podcast before, the thing that just continues to impress me about Scottie is his bounce back hose. Like after a bogey, it reminds me not that I watch Tiger a lot, but like when I see stuff about Tiger, I see a lot of things about how he always bounced back after a bogey. And like today on hole 3, I think he had a gap wedge from like 120 something out. I mean, just like something that like he's licking his chops. I mean, like, this is all Scottie, and then he proceeds to bogey it. He left it short, and it was a really hard shot. The very next hole was a par 3, 225 yards, 4-iron. Throws it to like 4 feet. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that like that's what really, really separates, I think, great golfers on tour to good golfers is those bounce back holes. And I think of, like I've mentioned last year, the FedEx, it was, I think maybe hole 9. He just come off that either bogey or double bogey on hole 8 where he S-worded it. And
Yeah.
then he throws it to like 3 feet across the water. Like that's just impressive. And then like yesterday, and then I'll be done. Like yesterday, I think it was hole 15, that par 3 over the water. The pin was tucked left side. There was only 4 birdies the whole day. The Stevens guy that he was playing with, or it may have been the other guy, throws it to like 5 feet, the closest proximity of the entire day. Scottie got like a 7 or 8 shot lead, and they're like, there's no reason for Scottie to get aggressive. No, it's almost pitch dark, and he throws it to 3 feet, the closest of the day. Like, that's the kind of stuff that like he's just on a different level. And it's really like Claire was watching it with me today, and when I turned it on, or when she came in there to look at it, she said 27 under. Is that even possible? And I'm just like, he's on fire.
It is for that man.
Yeah. But it was a great week, I think, for the PGA because a lot of people was wanting Scotty to win because it was his hometown event, and he did do
And
that. So
and Spieth showed out today.
he did. He
You know,
he
he's
went
trending.
low,
He's trending also, which is another like player that if you want to be really good because he's a fan favorite.
and also going into Kohala, he has an opportunity to complete the Grand Slam. Man, that's kind of goes under the
Right,
radar. Like nobody
right,
really talks about that.
right. Like that'll be a storyline that will fall way down there because of however good everyone else is playing. But you have Spieth, who's only one major away from completing the Grand Slam, also right there. Rory just completed, and you could turn around and Spieth could be the next one to join that club if he was to win it. So
Very interesting. It's we are in store for some good golf, I think, for the rest of the year. Let's shift gears and let's go to the NBA. Some kind of breaking news. I guess everybody could see coming, but Greg Popovich steps down as the Spurs head coach to be the president of operations for the Spurs franchise. Obviously, he had some health issues. I think I read he had a stroke back in the fall. I mean, he's 76 years old. He's coached for 29 years. Um, he has 5 NBA championships. He has the most regular season wins in the NBA history, the third most playoff wins in NBA history. He's a 3-time coach of the year. He has the longest consecutive streak of winning seasons at 22. And then just some of the players that he's coached. I mean, you think of David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Mono Ginobili, Tony Parker,
Kawhi
Victor,
Leonard,
Kawhi. I
yeah,
mean, he's one of those coaches that like was still in the NBA that like he didn't really have to prove anything at all. The respect was just there. He was that kind of that old fashioned coach that like people just had that level of respect no matter if he was wrong, he was right. And you hate to see a legend like that kind of go away from the league, but I think it was the right move. Obviously, he is getting up there in age and kind of just taking it. He definitely will still be involved being the president of operations. But just talk a little bit about Pop, Mason. What? I guess my question for you would be like, what did Greg Popovich? What did he mean to the NBA?
I mean, like you said, obviously he's one of the greatest coaches to ever coach in the NBA. Kind of behind, you said, 1,422 regular season wins, most all time. 5-time NBA champion. He had 6 finals appearances. I think only Phil Jackson and Pat Riley have won more NBA playoff games. And then Jackson and Auerbach have more NBA championships. So obviously a legend. Like you said, I think everybody coming in, I mean, he had it figured out, right? Nobody really questioned him. You have some of these players that they don't have the respect that he had. They come in and they're trying to build a culture. He's had that built for a long, long time there at the Spurs. And I think it's a good move for him. It's good to see him stick around the game. Obviously, he loves the game. He's been in it for a long time, but it's good to see him stick around and hopefully continue to lead that Spurs organization in the right direction. They got some great young talent there. So hopefully, his successors and things, they can step in and learn some of his traits and, characteristics and how he really led that organization for however many years it was. I don't know the exact number, 20, 30 years, whatever it was, but
29.
he,
He was the
29.
coach for
I
29
was going to
years.
say, I knew it was right under 30, but I didn't know exactly. But yeah, I mean, I hope he continues to pass down some of his knowledge. I think he's great for the game of basketball, a great coach, and I've always loved the way that he coached and led that particular program and the people that played in that program. So
Yeah, Coach, I like what Mason said, using the word culture. I mean, when you think of NBA franchises and a culture and kind of like the system, like, usually the Spurs are in that conversation. Popovich really didn't have a resume of like bringing big time all stars and automatically just having them. It was one of those things where he built that culture and like he made players better. So talk a little bit about like it reminds me a little bit of like the Pittsburgh Steelers in the NFL. Like you may not get the best of the best, but due to the coaching and the culture that Greg Popovich has, that's what transitions and gets those players to being better than what they probably are. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, one of the greatest coaches to ever to coach in the NBA. Culture is the main thing you think of when you think of Spurs. Right now, if you had to name like the next like top like cultures, you'd probably go immediately to like the Warriors, right? For how long they've been doing it now, right? You'll look back at that type of stuff, like the Heat under Spoelstra, right? Those type of guys that are constantly showing success with different lineups with different players, and they have their style and it's succeeded over a long time. For me, the most impressive thing with the Spurs is yes, they have had some great players come through. I mean, you're talking about three of maybe the top generational centers to come through that they've got with Robinson and Duncan and Wemby, right? I mean, they've
Hmm.
got fortunate to have these, but that those great Spurs teams, they all come from guys that were drafted, right? It's not like they went out and bought players, they went out and done all this stuff. Like
Hmm.
they drafted, yes, they were good players, but they played under a system that made them better. They played under a system that made them fundamental, right? They were just always one of those teams that they didn't mess up, right? You had to go and beat them because they weren't going to beat themselves under Pop, right? And
Yeah,
the, and
yeah,
the
I
thing
like that.
is,
Yeah.
right, they weren't going to beat themselves because whether it was Tim Duncan constantly using the backboard, right, or Parker and Ginobili, just they're not going to they weren't faster or bigger than you, but they all played smarter and they played consistent fundamental basketball. Kawhi fit that perfect when he come in, right? My favorite thing about Kawhi Leonard is he can come down and he could posterize you and he would absolutely say zero words. Like he will just go right back down the court. And I have no doubt that yes, that's Kawhi's personality, but Pop has something to do with that too. Like I mean, that's where Kawhi started, and he got to be around those guys, right? And I think a lot of what he probably learned was, man, you go about it and you do it your right way. You go in and you do your job, right? Pop reminds you of kind of like the Belichick, right? Like you a bunch of these players you come in and you do your job like that's their culture, and that's always been the Spurs. And yes, the last few years it's been more of a struggle. You had a lot of those guys retire and a lot of those leaders, and that also contributed to that culture. But I had no doubt that here in a couple of years with Wemby being the way he is, and I mean they just had Stephon Castle, which is rookie of the year this year, and you have De'Aaron Fox now, a true like elite point guard, and you've got another top pick. I mean, you could very well win the lottery and draw a Cooper flag.
Yeah.
So Spurs are going to be in a good position, and I think him still being around basketball. Obviously, I hope his health is fine. Obviously, him having these strokes and these health scares, this was the right move because he's got to take care of that first and foremost, and it keeps him from having to travel as much and doing some of these things that probably weren't going to be easy on him. But overall, just I mean, the amount of respect that the league has for him, and
Yeah.
and he'll always go down as that. So, he'll definitely be missed in that way. But I do think it's an exciting time for the Spurs because they probably do need a little bit of a new voice and modern, a little bit, but under the same like, they're taking a guy that's been under Pop for what they said 10 years. He's been there for a decade as an assistant,
Yep.
so he's going to bring that culture too and take a lot of things and maybe throw some modern things in there. So it'll be
Hmm.
One
good going
more,
forward.
one more little like key fact just to talk about like how much of an impact he's had on the NBA. Kind of cool here. So, four of the 29 other coaches to open this season with top jobs were former assistants under Popovich in San Antonio. Yeah, Mike Budenholzer, Ime Udoka, Mike Brown, and Will Hardy. Two more, Taylor Jenkins and Quinn Snyder, were the head coach of San Antonio's G League affiliate. And then two more, Doc Rivers and Steve Kerr, played for Popovich in San Antonio. And of the 21 coaches that haven't been talked about, 11 more have at some point worked as an assistant under one of those first eight. So, I mean, think
Yeah.
about that tree that's come from Greg Popovich and the culture that he's established in the NBA. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And I mean, another thing that I immediately like when I think of the Spurs, and I think that like the impact that Popovich has had for the NBA itself is that avenue for foreign players. I mean, when you think of foreign players, I mean, you think of the franchise I think of is the Spurs. I mean, with Tony Parker, Manu, I mean, even Boris Diaw. Like, I mean,
I was about to say
like
him.
he made him better. Tiago Splitter. I remember him in the Heat years. And then even like after Paul Gasol even went there, and now you have Victor Wembanyama. So like, um, outside of the United States, and like even on the draft day of Wembanyama, like he had a jersey of the Spurs when he was young, because like that's what they looked up to was those foreign guys, in Tony Parker and
Yeah.
Manu
Who
Ginobili,
who was the
and
guy that backed up Patty Mills? He's foreign.
Mhm.
He's
yeah,
technically
Patty
from
Mills, yeah,
France,
that's
Australia
right?
another.
or New Zealand,
Yeah.
I think. He's from
Yeah,
somewhere
something like
like that.
that.
So, like, you think of like the impact that he's had not only in for the USA, but just like worldwide. I mean, and I thought it was really cool to see all the other ex players and coaches get online and kind of like, um, just say all the nice things about Popovich and what he's meant to them. A lot of them actually were getting emotional. It just goes to show you that that he really was a down to earth and great guy, and he wanted, like, I mean, he had the best interest for every player, coach, whomever it may be that he come in contact with. Um, so, any other thoughts on Popovich before we move on? All
Nope.
right, we're moving right on to another professional sports. And Mason, this will be interesting for you. This is your ex quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Um, Kind of flying under the radar right now just because of the transition, but I feel like it's going to pick back up pretty soon, with the NBA playoffs going on and the NFL draft that kind of took over the headlines. But um, nonetheless, Aaron Rodgers is currently a free agent, after the Jets released him. We're talking about a guy who is a Super Bowl champion, a multiple in league MVP. He's 41 years old. Um, and right now if there is one team that's kind of interested in him, it's been the Pittsburgh Steelers. But we also know that he is contemplating retirement. Uh, so before I hand it over to you, Mason, so in his 2024 season last year, he had a QBR rating of 48, which was 25th in the NFL. So you might be thinking like, yeah, it's time for him to retire. Like, I don't know if he has it. However, though, the more I dug, the more I was like, well, that's not bad at all. For his passing yards, he had 3,897, which was eighth in the league. He had passing touchdowns was 28, tied for seventh in the league. Interceptions was 11th, which was tied for 15th, and his completion percentage was 63. So, those numbers, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, he's kind of just like, I mean, he's a top 10 quarterback based on those numbers. Um, but what what are your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers, taking away what he did at Green Bay? Like if he was mad if he left or whatnot. Well, let's just talk about him as a player. Like, is it time for Aaron Rodgers to hang it up? Should he keep playing? Should he maybe give it another chance with a new team? The Jets maybe just wasn't a good fit. Well, I know you're a big Packers fan, so I know you followed him continuously even after. I mean, that's just how it goes. You always will watch your players who were there, especially a guy like him who had the impact there they did at Green Bay. So, what's your thoughts on it, Mason?
Yeah, so like you said, I mean, he's had a great NFL career. He's a future Hall of Famer. And, you know, what's going on right now, I feel like his personality's changed so much over the last, 5 to 7 years or so. And I think I won't get into a lot of that. I think a lot of that has to come from the Packers organization. You know, he had a lot of kind of wants and needs and trying to voice, his concerns about the team. And the Packers organization would never really listen to him. So I think he got frustrated and, a lot of that built up and that's kind of changed. He's become more open and vocal in the last, 5 to 6 years, which has kind of changed my view on, his personality. Obviously, I think he's still a great quarterback, but
Before you move
he
on, though, I
he's
do want to ask you that. I do want to ask you, was that fair? Let's not get into it, but like whenever, because that's a good point you bring up that like whenever they were in need of what they needed, receivers, because I remember like there was multiple times you all passed up
absolutely.
on, like was he fair in what he was saying, or was it just like bogus? Get out of here, we're in charge. Like, what as a Packers fan, how did you feel? And Colton, you can add on to that as well.
No, absolutely. I mean, I thought that, some of his voice frustrations were obviously warranted because, I mean, look at what he's done. I mean, he's who you're building the team around. He's a franchise quarterback. He's won two MVPs. He took you to a Super Bowl. he's probably one of the most talented quarterbacks to ever come through the league, right? And there was year after year after year after year where it's like, oh, all right, man, here's this, we can get this wide receiver this year, and they go draft a linebacker or a safety or something, and year after year he would constantly voice his opinions and wants for that. And he got so frustrated, and I don't blame him, honestly. I mean, I get the organization has their way they want to lead things, but that's a conversation for a different day. But I think they were definitely warranted, and I think that's kind of what changed his whole personality. And I honestly think it changed his mindset towards the game. I think he kind of got to the point there at Green Bay where he was like, it is what it is. I'm gonna come out here and play football, but I'm not gonna come out here and keep killing myself for an organization that's not, putting it back in and giving me what I want / need. But he's come out multiple times here in the offseason and said he's dealing with some personal issues, and family issues. And he hasn't went into depth about that. He said that he will come out eventually when the time is right. But he's also voiced, several times that he wants to win another Super Bowl. And I think if you put him in the right situation with the right organization, I never thought he was going to be successful at the Jets. I mean, let's just be honest here. The Jets haven't been good, for the last 15 to 20 years. And yes, he had some weapons around him, but it takes more than that. His line wasn't great. He's an old quarterback. He's not as mobile as he used to be. He used to be able to get out of the pocket, break a 7-8 yard run and scramble and create plays. He can't do that anymore, right? I mean, he's got to be a pocket passer now.
Yeah.
And
Well, at his age, like were you saying, like not a good fit. At his age, he needs to move into a franchise that has at least some credibility of winning. He's
right,
not. It's not the right time to transition a losing team and just make them all of a sudden a Super Bowl contender. That's not really realistic.
yeah,
I
and
think of Tom Brady, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They were like a winning organization. They just needed a little something extra, and that was a good fit for him. But like, it wasn't like they were not winning at all.
yes, and coming off that Achilles injury too. Now, I mean that just
Very
adds to it
true.
even more. But I think if you put him in the right, I mean, like I think the Steelers would be a good fit for him. I really do. They got weapons on the outside. Their line's pretty good. They got a good defense. That's not going to keep him on the field out there a lot. Can give him breaks. You got Mike Tomlin, who runs a great organization. We've already talked about their culture. I think that Aaron Rodgers. I think he's a smart guy, and I don't think him and Tomlin would clash. I think they both have they are both probably set in their ways. But I think Rodgers understands at this point that, hey, I'm at this age. I want to go to an organization where I can actually have a chance to compete. And, you look at some of these other quarterbacks around the league or these backup quarterbacks. I mean, I think he is still talent wise, top 15 quarterback in the league. I know he didn't have a great season last year, but I think, like I said, that's part of what he had around him. And that organization was just kind of a dumpster fire. It has been for a long time. And they expected him. I think a lot of people expected him to come in there and just turn it around immediately, and that's just not going to happen. So
Hmm.
I think I think he can definitely still compete. I think you should give it, maybe 1 or 2 more years, but he has to, like the Steelers. He can't go somewhere and like the Carolina Panthers or something like that, and expect to have a good year and expect him to be who he was before. I think he still has that talent, but we'll see what happens. He needs to go somewhere where he can compete and have an organization, a line that can protect him. That's the biggest thing right now
Yeah.
because he's been taking hits last few years and he's way too old for that.
Yeah. Bulldog, what do you think about Rodgers?
I mean, Steelers are his only option
Yeah,
if he wants to play. Like there ain't no other option. It's either the Steelers. He goes to the Steelers now. But everyone else moved on. I think he was hoping like slim chances that like the Vikings or maybe the 49ers or some of these other teams wanted him. But I think they've all decided they're going to, probably keep Purdy and they're going to go with their young, McCarthy at the Vikings. And so, now it's literally the Steelers or nobody. And so, I don't, Rodgers can't really be picky if he wants to continue to play. This is his only option. I mean, and the Steelers have left that door open. They obviously did not they went and got Will Howard in the 6th round. Now, he is a national championship quarterback. I mean, that could be a sleeper. He's got the body, like 6'3", strong arm. I mean, seems like a good kid that like actually like work ethic, like someone that would be a culture type guy. I think some of his decision making was the only thing that kind of like left him, maybe a little panic in the pocket, some stuff like that. But who knows with the more experience he gains, that could be their future guy.
Bring
And
Rodgers in. Let him learn under him.
bring Rodgers in, let him learn under him. Look, Aaron Rodgers is one of the most talented quarterbacks to ever play the game. I mean, throws one of the prettiest balls to ever play. Just pure passing. Just one of the best to ever play. But look, Green Bay, and yes, he had earned his right to voice his stuff in Green Bay. There is no doubt about it. Like, especially them drafting. Obviously, the downfall was when they drafted Love to come in and be his replacement. When they, instead of getting weapons for him going forward. However, unlike Brady with the Patriots, where the Patriots weren't one of those franchises before Brady got there. And then they were when like Brady helped build that franchise. The Packers are like the top of the top, right? Them, the Steelers, they're the old story, the 49ers. Like, they've been there. I mean, you had Brett Favre before, and then who you had before? Bart Starr, or
Yep.
right? So, I mean, they are known for producing elite quarterbacks. And now look, Love, obviously, I think Love had an up and down year last year, but the year before, I mean, you watch the way he finished the season, and you still watched highlights of him last year at times. Maybe they got the quarterback right again, right? So who am I to question the Packers organization as a whole? And I think they ultimately decided those last couple playoff runs where the Packers lost and Rodgers didn't look his best in the playoffs. Even, you could see the age taking effect a little bit. I think the Packers are finally like, look, like, you're obviously good, but how much longer do you have? You're not the player you were, and they were going to trust what they do over, someone like Rodgers. They were like, we're going to trust that we're going to find another elite quarterback, and it looks like they might have, right? Like, I mean, it looks like they have probably the guy for the next 10 years again. Not many franchises. If anyone gets the quarterback right, it's the Packers, right? They know how to get the quarterback right. So, honestly, the Steelers is the number one option, but I really think it's probably time for Rodgers to retire. I'm not saying that he couldn't come in and still have some success, but I think at this point that, like, I think if I thought he was a culture guy, then I would say yes, he needs to still play. Because to me, like, when Brady left the Patriots to the Bucks, he went and, like, he made it a culture thing again, right? Like, he took what he knew how to build a culture, went there, and he held every one of those players accountable, right? Heck, he was on, like, that's the thing. And it just seems like Rodgers is more about what he wants and, like, on his schedule, and that's not the Steelers' way either. The Steelers are culture through and through. They're going to be their way or no way.
Or the highway.
And, right, and to me, if Rodgers isn't willing to jump into that type of culture, like change that mindset completely, he'd be better off retiring because he just isn't the same. And the Steelers have struggled getting in the quarterback position right, keeping the quarterback from getting hit. They do have some weapons at least this time. He's been a great quarterback. I think it's time for him to probably hang it up, go off somewhere into the retreat.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's not even bringing up anything off the field stuff. Like, Aaron Rodgers, like, he's a straight up weird dude. I mean, he is. I mean, like, he has like some of the stuff you read about him, and I mean, like, I know this is like he don't have any relationship with his brother, and I know for sure,
or parents,
like, and then like you talk about his like girlfriends, like I know, I mean, and it's not that I go researching, but I mean it's online. Like he's had all kinds, and it's just like something random happens. Like, and then you talk about the retreat and the like. He's a weird guy. He can play football, but he's a weird guy. He is. But yeah, I don't know how Mike Tomlin will want him to go to retreat with him. Maybe they can do some bonding or something.
Yeah.
Like, what the world did I get myself into? All right, well, let's get into our next segment. So what we're going to do here is we have 4 different hypothetical situations we're going to do for you all, highlighting a different sport. We're going to do one for basketball, baseball, football, and golf. So, yeah, we're going to get right in that. So our first one we're going to go for is we're going to do a basketball hypothetical situation. So here it is. If you were or if we were to be dropped into a regular season of Kentucky basketball with our current skills, what we have right now. So like we can't like get faster, we can't get we can't gain 3 or 4 inches. What we are right now, and we were to play 40 minutes the entire game for the entire season. I mean, obviously, we wouldn't be able to do that, but that's why it's a hypothetical situation. So we play 40 minutes for the entire season. How many rebounds, points, and assists would we average? Colton, we're going to start with you. So if we
All
throw
right.
you into a regular season, and I mean, like, you got to think about the average. Like, I mean, over however many games they play in the regular season, not counting the SEC tournament. How many points and assists and rebounds would you average? And be legit, be logistic here, like
All
logical,
right.
like
2 rebounds. I'm getting 2
okay.
random long threes that are bouncing to me. I'm getting 2 for 40 minutes. I feel like I could get 2. Right. Like I
I
feel
mean,
like
there's
I'm.
gonna be nights where you don't get any, but
Yeah.
then there could be nights where you get like 5 or 6.
I
Like
mean, come
that's
on.
why it's an
I feel
average. Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
could get like a bunch of like random tip offs to me or something.
That's right.
But right. Uh, points wise, I mean, I'm maybe averaging 2.3 points a game, and that's if I get 2 random games against a couple of those Kentucky Wesleyans or I
Hey,
mean, a
those are
couple.
exhibition games. Those are exhibition games. They don't even count.
Hey, man, listen, whoever we're playing,
Let it fly.
getting the 3, letting them fly, like those walk-ons when they come in. Except if I'm getting 40 minutes a game, I'm letting them fly all game.
Mason, all right, that might be hot. Is Colton averaging 2.3 points, or is he averaging?
I
But you
don't
gotta
know,
think,
boy.
I'm playing 40 minutes.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
that is true.
probably
That
not.
is true.
I'm playing 40 minutes. Like you're saying, like obviously, if I wasn't gonna be, I was coming in for 30 seconds. But if I'm playing 40 minutes, yeah, I mean, am I scoring
Yeah.
against a St. John's? Absolutely not. But I mean, but maybe they just think maybe they go to double team someone else and I randomly get a shot off.
There you go.
They're
And
gonna
let
just
it
go
drink.
wide open.
I
How
mean,
many? Hey, how many assists are you
Devin
averaging?
Booker. That would probably be my best chance, I would think, of getting a random like pass out or like a fast break, like someone cherry picking, like throwing a
Hmm.
hit, or someone come off of a screen and I hit them and they pop a 3. So
Yeah.
we'll say 3. We'll say 2.3 points and 3 assists. That's averaging 40 minutes a game for the whole season.
Okay. I like it. Mason,
All
what are
right.
you averaging?
So 40 minutes a game. I'm running the point guard the entire game, right? Like I bring the ball up, I get the offense going. All right. So I'm gonna start off with points here. Dylan, you know my game. I'm not really a score first type, but I can knock down the open shot. So I'm gonna say I average 8.7 points a game. I think I can knock down, a couple threes a game, averaging, 1.5 threes a game, get a couple free throws, pretty good free throw shooter. Rebounds, I'm gonna say 3.4 rebounds. Yes, I know I'm a little guy, but we've talked about it before. Rebounding is about knowing where the ball's gonna go. I think I could snag 3.4 rebounds, average that, and assists. That's gonna be my big one. I'm gonna say I'm gonna average 7.2 assists per game if I'm playing 40 minutes a game. You give me some of these athletes and you put me in a pick and roll, I am going to pick the defense apart. I'm going to find open man. They're going to knock down shots. And I'm throwing in there, I'm going to average 1.4 steals a game.
How
1.4
many
steals a game.
rebounds did you say?
3.4.
Okay. The only one that I'm kind of I really think you're right on the assists. I think you'd average a lot of assists. The points though, I don't know. How many did you say? 8.7?
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
Mason. I think you're more in the 5.5, 6 range on
No.
points.
No. I'm going to knock down the open shots, Dylan, and I'm going to get to the foul line. I'm going to
I
average
feel like
3 or 4
Butler
free
only
throws a
averaged
game.
like 10 this year, didn't he?
But
I mean,
he can play
obviously,
Yeah.
we're talking 40 minutes a game. I'm going to shoot the ball probably
yeah.
8 times.
Now,
What do you think, Colton? What do you think about his stat
I
line?
mean,
Be real.
it's tough with the it's the points you never know, but 40 minutes does make a big difference, I guess.
It
Like
does.
in my mindset, I'm thinking like if I actually play all 40 minutes, that's why I sit there and said 2, because I mean,
Are you about
I
to bump
I
up
sit
your
there.
scoring average? You going to bump it up to
No,
about 4
no,
points?
no, no, no.
Dylan,
I'm
you say
not.
5 points. You think I'm only gonna average 3 more points than Colton a game?
Yeah, yeah. That's. I mean, listen. I'm a bucket from the outside.
Are you serious?
Oh man! All right,
Hey,
well, I
Patrick Sparks
I
point 2.0
there you go. Got the long johns on for the
and
pants, but going to the
the
ankles.
short sleeve
Yeah.
undershirts that goes down to the elbows.
Okay, so here's my stat line. I think I would average 10.5 points. Uh, maybe low bone. I don't know.
I think
I
you'd
don't
average
know.
more than that. 40 minutes a game.
I know that's what I keep thinking, but I put
I
down
think
ten
you're
and a
at
half
least
points.
12. I think you're at least 12.
I do think I'm gonna average 8 rebounds a game.
I
Um,
like that.
like I think I didn't want to put 10, but I do like I think that's like realistic because I mean I thought I was a pretty good rebounder. And then assist, I'm gonna put 5.5 assists. I just think for 40 minutes, that's the kind of hard part that we keep like that's. I mean, like obviously there's gonna be nights where I might have like 4 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. But then like there might be a night where I have like 18 points, uh 12 rebounds. I'm not maybe in the same night, but I mean like that's where it's going to average out and help that. I mean, I think that playing at the college level, a lot of people one thing it's really not that big of a difference from the guard play. I've always said this. Like me and Mason can attest to this. Like playing at the NAI level, the guards like it's not like when we would play because we did play like the Murray. Now, obviously, those are your mid majors, but like you see mid majors compete all the time with the power conferences and Power Five conferences, and the guards themselves are still very quick, very athletic, and are decently tall, 6'3", 6'4". It's the shift from the guards to the forward and centers that's the biggest difference. You know, like whenever I mean, at one point I would have to play the four at times. I'm 6'3", and I was having to guard a dude who was 6'7", would be like the four man for another team. Whereas whenever we played like a Murray State, they would have a 6'10". I mean, like, it was just a tremendous difference. And so I think for all three of us, I mean, we'd be playing at the guard position. Um, I mean, we'd be buckets. I mean,
That's right.
no way about it.
That's right.
Uh, well, let's just say this: how many wins are we winning if they put us three at the starting three? Mason at the one, Colton at the two, and me at the three.
There,
What a, well,
this why it wasn't a question because actually for 40 minutes you
we
could
can win one
actually
game.
say like, well, what I was saying though is you're actually probably going to put these stats up. Like I know it seems unrealistic, but 40 minutes if we're the only option you have, we may get beat by 50, but we're the only ones in there, so like you're the only ones shooting the
Hey,
shots.
Colton's getting it up. Colton
Listen,
is
we're
letting
putting
it
it up.
fly.
We may be down 40, but that thing's going up across half court.
What defense are we running? Because we're getting cooked right now.
We're not running defense. We're running an Asbury. We're shooting it. And
Yeah,
we're
as soon as
pressing.
we
If we
come
don't get a
across half
steal,
court,
we're giving them an
we're putting up,
automatic layup. But
we're
we're
putting up
shooting
85
threes.
shots a game.
My
Yeah,
goodness.
oh yeah. If we did have to play 40 minutes, oh man, that would be a killer. I mean, LeBron James has to do it. 40 years old. Here we go. All right, let's get into our next hypothetical. So we're moving on to baseball. Here it is. You get 10 at bats in an MLB game against Justin Verlander in his prime. If you get a hit, you win $1 million. If you strike out, you owe $100,000 for every strikeout. So you're looking at 10 possible strikeouts. Now, you're also looking at 10 possible chances of winning $1 million. So, are you going to take that chance and even step into the batter's box?
So, question: is it like
Yeah.
you got to get on base, or
Or
you
you
just
just
have to
had to
make
put in
contact?
play. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
because you said
think
strikeouts. Let's just put in
um
play. Put it in
put in play.
play.
Just put in play.
Yeah.
Um I'll start this one out and I'm going to say no, I'm not. I am not messing with that. I would be owing $800,000 because I think at 10 at bats, I would strike out every time. I do. I don't think that I am going to be able to even put it on the ground in the air. It's going to go right past me. Um, I just don't like. I wasn't a good hitter when I played, anyways. I hated hitting, and a lot of it was because I really wasn't the best at it. I loved playing the field, but against Justin Verlander in his prime, there is not a chance. I mean, there's no way that I'm making contact with that baseball, and if I do, it's going to be a foul ball, and that's about it. And you talk about like if a guy in the MLB goes up and it gets three. I mean, he's batting 300. I mean, like, there's no way I have a chance. But I'm going to shift gears and let Mason go because I have a feeling Mason might be going the other way, and I want to hear this, and we're going to talk about it. Mason, what are you doing?
So I get 10 at bats. I just got to put one in play. And so first thing, do I get some like prep time to like see these like do I get like a week to watch these pitches come, or I'm just stepping in the box first time
It don't
seeing
matter
it?
if you're watching them or not, Mason. What's watching them going to do for you?
No, I'm saying like, do I get a week to see 100-mile-an-hour fastball coming at me, or am I just stepping in there and it's the first time I see 100-mile-an-hour fastball coming at me?
Whatever you want. Yes,
All
you
right,
can. You.
I'm taking it. I can lay down a bunt.
There's not a chance.
I can lay down a bunt and put it in play. All I do is hold the bat out there, bunt it in.
But no,
yes.
no.
You give me 10 at bats. I can put one in play, then I can come out even. Actually, I come up 100,000 because if the other 9 are strikeouts.
So at the 10 at bats, how many do you think you would actually be able to put in play? Just one at bat, or do you think you would be able to do more than one?
What if we said no bunts allowed?
No bunts allowed. I think I can make contact with some. Do I think I put one in play? Probably not. But if money's not, and if money's not an issue here, then I'm going to step in there and give it my best shot. But 10 at bats, I think I can make contact. Let's just say 2 at bats. I don't think I'm going to put them in play, but I think I'm making contact.
Colton, what are you doing? You gonna make contact?
Oh yeah, I'm taking 10 for sure. No, look, I mean, I don't. As far as actual contact, for sure, because like that was by far. I don't know how many strikeouts I had throughout the high school career, but it was very low. Like that was probably my best stat.
Mason, Colton gonna be slow motion swinging that thing and watching that ball go right by him, and the umpire going.
Listen, like I hit guys in high school that threw 85 to 90 better than I did the guys who threw 50. Like that was just one thing that I never did much of is strikeout in high school. Like I was for sure to put it in play. Like, and I don't know that I would put more than one or in play, but I think in 10 bats I can put one in play.
Mason, you got confidence in him?
Let's find a batting cage and let's test.
We do, yeah.
Theory.
We need to go do that, yeah.
Let's find a batting cage that throws, at least 90, and let's step in there and see.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is Justin Verlander is not just going to be throwing fastballs. That man's going to be throwing some wicked stuff.
This will give us an idea.
Yeah. But I still, though, I mean.
That ball's going to start out coming at your head and break right over the plate.
I was twice the baseball player that I was golfer. Like, by far.
I'll make a little proposition here. I bet I can strike you out, Colton. You give me, I'll give you 3 at bats.
I like that.
I bet I'll strike you out more than you put one in play.
Stop.
All right. Let's line it up.
I want to see this.
Okay.
Hey, that's something we might have to do for whenever Mason comes down. We'll just go to the baseball field and we'll do it.
Let's do it. No, he may take one to the rib cage.
To the dome.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
You better get you some pads.
Mason ain't throwing a strike. He ain't throwing me a strike.
Stop it.
Oh, man. All right, well, let's go into our next one. Our next one's going to be in the football, NFL. So, here it is the hypothetical. What if every NFL team had to start their backup quarterback for an entire season? Who do you think would win the Super Bowl, or I guess have the best opportunity to win a Super Bowl?
This one was tough for me.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Colton. You start us out on this one.
Yeah, so you've got to go with the ones who have the best weapons. surrounding the quarterbacks that are coming in, like the best, well-coached teams, the teams that still find ways to win, even with guys that aren't in there. So to me, I think it would probably be someone like maybe a Vikings or a
Well, name
yeah.
the
I'd,
quarterback
I'd
too. Name the quarterback though.
well, actually, I'd have to sit there. I think is it Sam Howell now? I
Yeah,
think it's Sam Howell now at the Vikings.
it
And
is.
Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and some of these guys. I don't even know who's the backup now for Detroit. Actually, never mind. I'd probably go with the Eagles. Still, I'd probably go with the Eagles. Their backup is who they just drafted. The guy,
What is his name?
I don't even know.
It's
who did they
somebody
just draft
McKee. It's something like that, isn't it?
from where?
Tanner McKee. They
Hammer
traded
Key.
Kenny Pickett,
Yeah,
and
I was gonna
it's
take the Eagles, but then I forgot that Kenny Pickett's at the Browns now.
I thought they drafted a QB though.
Kyle
there
McCord.
are,
They drafted Kyle McCord from
Yeah,
Syracuse. Yeah, that
Syracuse.
was at
Yeah,
Ohio
used to be at
State
Ohio
before
State.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Give me the Eagles because Saquon Barkley and that
they
offensive
were
line.
they were under
You
300 a
you just
game.
have to limit that. Yeah, you can limit your offense completely to where just having the quarterback not make a mistake and just throw little pass let you run game. So I'm gonna go with the Eagles still.
Mason. Who you going with?
So this one was tough for me. I was gonna take the Eagles originally because I thought about that run game and I was like Kenny Pickett. I think that'd be a no brainer. But for me, it's down to probably two. Um, and I don't know which way I probably lean more towards the 49ers here. Mac Jones is the backup. Obviously he started at the Patriots for a long time. They got a great defense. They got weapons, got a great run game. So I think I'd have to lean with the 49ers. Mac
Who's
Jones,
your
I
other
think
team?
my other team was the Chiefs. Just
Carson
because,
Wentz.
uh, is that I thought it was Minshew. Is it Wentz now?
Maybe both of them. I know Carson
Yeah.
Wentz
Well,
is there too.
either one of those two. But Minshew Magic, I mean, he came in there a couple years ago and he was balling out. But I think I
Yeah.
just have to lean with the 49ers just because defensively and the run game, they got weapons too. So I'm going 49ers.
Well, I'm gonna take my talents to L.A. I'm gonna go with the Los Angeles Rams with my boy Jimmy G.
Jimmy
Jimmy
G.
Garoppolo.
It's a good pick too.
Jimmy G, he's one of those guys that I don't know. I felt like he was just rocking and rolling, and then he get hurt.
Yeah,
He got hurt, and then that was like a big because whenever he's at the 49ers, did they go to the Super Bowl that year with him?
yeah.
They beat my Packers.
Yeah, and Jimmy G has been just always that ultimate backup quarterback. I mean, like he's never been. I mean, obviously he took them to that Super Bowl, but I mean, when you think of the Patriots, I mean, like it was like, wow, look at this guy coming off. I mean, he's a backup. And I think the Rams. I mean, they have a solid defense. They have some weapons. I mean, I know that they just got rid of.
Got
Oh,
Devontae Adams now though.
yeah, that is true. They picked up Devontae Adams. So I mean, I like the Los Angeles Rams. I like their chances of coming out victorious on that. But yeah, I will say this: at first, what I was doing when I got into this, and I was like, I started looking at the best backup quarterback rather than the team. And that's kind of what I dove into, and I put up, and I was like, well, this maybe ain't there, because when I was looking at it, at first, and y'all may disagree, but I had Justin Fields. And then I realized that Justin Fields
Is the
is
starter for the Jets.
is
Yeah.
the starter for the Jets. And I was like, wait, no, that ain't gonna work out. Because I had forgot all about that. Um, but that was another guy that I was just like, man, I liked Justin Fields. I know that the Bears were just terrible for him. Their
Yeah,
O
I mean,
line was awful.
you could have chose the Browns. You got like 5 choices.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing though. You had 5 choices, so who would actually be the actual
Yeah,
quarterback?
I don't know. Or the Giants. I mean, Jameis
Yeah.
Yeah.
Winston.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's a lot of good, decent quarterbacks out there that are backups. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like the system. I mean, it's whatever they fall into. Um, but let's get into our next one, which is going to probably be one that we talk a little bit more about because it's very interesting because a lot of people have probably had this conversation before. But for golf, what if Tiger Woods had never dealt with injuries? And even add on to that, personal issues. So if he would have never dealt with injuries or personal issues, how many majors do you think he would have won? And just to throw this out there for people who don't know Tiger's history, so um, Tiger's won 15 majors, 5 Masters, 4 PGAs, 3 U.S. Opens, and 3 Open. And then here's just a list of his injuries. He's had 5 back surgeries, including a spinal fusion in 2017, a left knee surgery in 1994 in his college years, a 2008 ACL reconstruction, neck strains, Achilles tendon problems. He had a car crash that led to multiple fractures in his right leg. He shattered his ankle. He's had issues with his left elbow with strain in it. He's had a left wrist injury. That's just a list of just a few of the injuries, health problems that he's had to deal with. And then that's not even to mention his personal issues, which in 2009, he had the infidelity scandal. He had divorce. He had the prescription drug DUI arrest. He's always had to deal with the media taking a toll on him until recently, I would say in 2019. I mean, other than that, he's kind of not really been really very talkative with the media. And people will talk about that. Like there's this different aspect of Tiger is it's changed the transition that you've seen Tiger emerge into over the past probably 8 to 10 years. So Colton, I know you followed Tiger. You've been in golf a lot longer, like we said multiple times. I want to hear your thoughts first on this one because this is very interesting to think about. So, what are your initial thoughts on this hypothetical situation? If he didn't have to deal with any injuries or personal issues. It was just golf. Just take just a regular golfer, and that's what it is. Would he have
Yeah.
won the most
So,
majors?
so you think about really when he had that first injury and the first kind of when all that kind of happened with his ex and all that stuff that went down. That was what year was it? 2008, 2010, something like
Yeah,
that.
2007, 2008.
So like, if you think about it, at that age, I mean, he's what now, 48 or 49? So he was like 30, 31. I mean, you think I have no doubt if he'd have not got injured from the ages of 30 to 40, which look at Rory, he's 36.
Mhm.
So, I mean, and you look how much like Rory's being able to dominate the game right now at 36. I mean, Scottie's pushing 30. So, I mean,
Tiger, just throw this up for Tiger in 2007. At that point, he had 13 majors in
yeah,
2007, like right before the
yeah,
injury.
right.
And the record
Yeah.
is Jack Nicklaus. How many
18?
does he have? Yeah, 18.
18?
18.
So he was
18.
five
Yeah,
short at that time.
yeah. Um, he's no doubt passing it, I think. I think he's winning at least 4 or 5 more majors in the especially from that 30 to 40. Like I don't know how many more he would have won. I think he would have been up there contention between 40 to 50. I mean, obviously he was what was he 42 when he won the Masters 2019, something like that. He's 43 I think when he won it. So I mean, and that's coming off injuries. I mean, that's coming off. I mean, he still was able to win 143, and you're talking about a stacked leaderboard. We talked about that popped up the other day that he went against. So yeah, between 30 to 40, no injuries, and that's before a time that some of these guys came along. Now I have no doubt he's for sure. He's at 82 wins right now. I think you're looking at probably somewhere around 95 total wins, and about he's at maybe 19 majors. Probably he's at least tied with Jack, but I'd say he's in 19 majors. That's what I think would have happened had he not ever got injured.
Yeah. Mason, what are your thoughts on it?
So I think minimum he wins 20 majors. I mean, just the way that he dominated, before he got hurt. I mean, like we said, he won 13 from, what was it? I think he won his first one in 97, right? And then the last one before that Masters was in what, 2007?
Yeah.
2000. I mean,
2007.
he won 13 in 10 years. I think if he stays healthy, I think he probably wins a minimum of 20, but I mean, we saw it even, before that car crash. I mean, he was starting to get back in a little bit of form again. He was playing well again, and then I think that car crash kind of did him in, and now I don't know that there's ever coming back from any of that with everything he has going on. But like you said, Colton. I mean, you give him a 10-year stretch, I think he wins. Probably. I think he gets to 20. I think he definitely passes Jack. I don't think 25 would have been out of reach. Just with that domination that we saw, who knows what could have happened if he never had injuries. It was just unreal, and we talk about it all the time. Something we'll never see again, probably. But I don't think 25 would have been out of reach for him.
Yeah, I'm going to go maybe a crazy mode here, but I'm saying that he is right at 25. I do. Based on the research that I've looked at and just the pure dominance that I mean, it was just not human like. I mean, he was just destroying fields. I mean, and we think of like today, like who's that guy, and everybody thinks Scottie. I mean, he was even better than Scotty was right now. Like, I mean, people think that, like, oh my goodness, like, how can it get any better? It was better. I mean, like,
Yeah.
and that's without the technology that we have today. I mean, so you just put all that into perspective. Tiger, just like his approach to like the game was just so different. Like I guess the closest thing that I can probably think of it is like whenever Bryson DeChambeau, right when COVID happened, where he got like monstrous and was just bombing the ball, and that was like something new, generational. That like he was just he was destroying, uh, he was destroying golf by just hitting it so much further than everybody. Like Tiger was doing that with his entire game. Like it wasn't just one thing; it was everything. Like just his putting. I mean, like it was. So I think that he was going to hit that 25 mark. If he wasn't, he was going to be maybe 23. But it was for sure going to be right there at it. I You could say this about any sport though. Is what I fall back to. Like you think of like the first person I think of in the NBA, Derrick Rose. Like I mean, like that's one of those like big what ifs. Like if he would have never got injured, I can't think of anybody right off my head for the NFL just because I didn't follow the NFL like I did the NBA growing up younger. I do now, but is there anybody in the NFL that y'all can immediately think about that
Well,
like?
I mean, I don't know how they would have turned out, but a couple I think of is like Carson Wentz got hurt in that MVP season that Nick Foles ended up leading and winning the championship. But Carson Wentz won MVP. Like he was, and then next thing you know, he's
Yeah.
kind of a backup, And then also I think of, and I don't know that he would have ever been elite, but I think of a top pick in the NFL. I don't know if y'all remember Sam Bradford,
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
for Oklahoma. Like he ended up having like 2 or 3 like ACL tears, and then
Oh,
like disappeared.
what about the guy who does college game day
Robert Griffin, or Robert Griffin
no,
third too was
no,
another
no,
one.
no, for
Yeah,
football.
RG3 was another one.
Well, what's his name for the football college game day? What is his name? He played at Michigan. Colton, you should know this because Desmond Howard.
Desmond
Desmond
Howard.
Howard.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he was
yeah.
he
I
won
forgot.
Player of the Year, and
yeah,
then got hurt. Like there's another guy
yeah. So I mean,
that
there's
multiple
been
people.
several like that like once they got hurt, I mean, there they were. I mean, you know, it just changed completely. They might
Yeah.
have come back and played, but you don't know what it would have been like had they never got hurt.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's sports, but you also hate to say, especially with
Right.
generational talent and
Right.
possibly, arguably the greatest of all time to do it. Uh,
Alex Smith is. Y'all remember his gruesome leg injury? I
oh
mean,
yeah, that's another.
he wasn't like really really great, But who knows what could have happened if he didn't have that leg injury?
Yeah.
He was. I think he was #1 pick, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, one more thing before we get off here. Let's close out with a little bit of Kentucky news. So, as many of you all know by now, Travis Perry. We know that he did enter the transfer portal. It released on Sunday that he is going to be at Ole Miss. That is where he is transferring to. Um, he's going to a good program that's kind of uh, made some noise here lately with Chris Beard. I think Chris Beard is a top-notch coach, being at Texas before coming to Ole Miss after he had a little scandal there. But he brought up a Texas program that was
A
kind of
Texas Tech program before that went to the
yeah,
Elite Eight
Texas
and
Tech.
Final Four.
Yes,
Yep.
exactly. Yeah, forgot about that. So here's my thing, and I'm gonna hand it over to you all. I just don't know that Travis Perry can fit in a Power 5 conference. Simple as that. I don't think that he is big enough to be a point guard. I don't think he's fast enough to be a point guard. I think he is a incredibly gifted shooter, incredibly gifted talent of the mind. His IQ is there. I think that I say that probably every guy that he matches up against, I would say that his IQ might be better, because he's probably had to do that his entire career because he has been. Um, but with that being said, I just didn't see the glimpses of being Power 5 conference starting point guard um, this year when he had his moments. Because, I mean, you can't say he didn't have his moments. He absolutely had plenty of times to show that off because given all the injuries that we had, it'd be different if we never got to see him in a game and be like, all he ever got was scrap minutes. That's not the case here. He started majority of the season and played well over probably 15 minutes every game, if not more. Probably more. I'm lowballing that. Great kid. I hope the best for him. Just don't think it's going to work out. Mason.
No, I agree. I mean, like you said, great kid. Wish nothing but the best for him, but I think we're going to see similar results. I've said it time and time again. Point guard's just not his position, right? And I don't think he's going to be able to learn how to play that position at this level, right? It's hard to come in and be able to do that when you've been playing something else your entire life, and you're going up against these type of athletes night in, night out in the SEC. So I text y'all earlier today. I think it's going to be kind of a similar situation, and I would have loved to see him go lower level. Not one of these Power 5. I mean, he could have went maybe a Power 5 like a Big East school. I think he could have done better there. Somewhere like that. But I just think that it's not going to allow him to develop into what he needs to be at this level. And I think two things are probably going to happen. One, he's going to come in and have similar results, kind of a similar role. You got to come in and run the point guard position. Unless Chris Beard puts him in a different role where he's coming off screens, getting him set looks, things like that, I think he can excel in that role. But I think, one, it's going to kind of continue to lower his confidence, right, if he comes in and has those same results this year. If he doesn't come in immediately and start having some type of improvement and showing that he can hang with these guys at this level, it's going to keep his confidence just lowering. And two, I think if he doesn't have the success this year, then that's just going to limit his opportunities going forward, right? If he doesn't have success, if he ends up transferring out again next year, you're probably not going to have many of these high majors, reaching out to you. You're probably going to end up having to go somewhere like a Western or a Murray. And I think that would have been the best option for him at this point. Go there, learn how to play this new position because you've never played it, develop your game, and then, in a year or two, come back and go to one of these, even if it's not Kentucky, go to one of these places after you learn how to play that position at a different, a little bit lower level at the D1 level. But like you said, wishing nothing but the best. I hope he comes out and kills it for Ole Miss. But I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, just
Forrest Colton.
yeah, real quick. Same. I mean, y'all said I looked at Ole Miss's roster. I know they brought in 2 or 3 really good players in the transfer portal. I don't know who they've got coming in freshman wise, but I don't see him being more than the 3rd or 4th guy off the bench again. But that's more than what he would have been at UK with the current lineup we have. I mean, he was looking at being the 13th man, on a team. So obviously I think he will get a little bit more playing time. I don't think he would have went there had he not felt like he was going to, right? I think he surely, like, he's smart enough and his, camp around him is smart enough to not send him to a place unless he thinks he's at least going to get similar playing time to what he got at UK this past year. So, I mean, and maybe he will, and he could fit there in a better system if they've got a, more of a point guard. He can be more of a roll off a screen shooter. But I'm like you, with the way the transfer portal is, and these guys, they go to mid majors and they come back to mid. I mean, some of these guys going to 4 different schools in 4 years. I think he could have went to a Western, a Murray State. I mean, even like at one point Vandy was looking, and that, that's a Power 5, but the way that the system ran, I thought that was going to be a better fit than anyone, someone like a Vandy. But I hope the best for him. I hope more so he just has to learn. I talked about it last time. His IQ defensively, he's got a high basketball IQ, So he has to learn how to use his athleticism and speed that he doesn't have, and he's never going to have. It's just he's not going to get any taller. He's not going to get he might get a fraction faster. So you got to learn your IQ, read the passing lanes, right? Back tip balls, learn when to double team and jump to a guy when they're not looking. Those type of things that Reed Shepherd was really good at. He's obviously more athletic, but Reed Shepherd was really good at those things, at reading the passing lanes, reading the stuff like that. He learns and does that, then you become where you can get on the floor, be a shooter and not a defensive liability completely. You can come back to a, more of a school, maybe UK in the future, but maybe he's found a home in Ole Miss. So we'll wish him the best though.
You know who he hits me like as like a perfect fit for? Like I'm not trying to like say like he's down to that level, even though that's exactly what I was gonna say.
I've always
Belmont.
said that.
He is like the perfect Belmont guy. Like just come in, straight shooter, can also like I was just sound like Belmont is like the perfect spot for him.
I've always said that. Yep.
Well, thanks for tuning in to another episode. As always, go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.
That's a wrap for this episode of Bluegrass State of Mind. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Also, be on the lookout for our social media pages and be sure to follow them. We've got plenty more stories, insights, and conversations coming your way. And if you really loved it, make sure to share it with a friend. From the hills to the hollers, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep that Kentucky spirit strong.